This is my daughter's hair. It is thick, there's a lot of it, and she wants it done in braids. Don't mind the fact that she's touching her gum. That is so gross. So before we can braid it, we're gonna have to blow it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow this out with a Denman paddle brush. It is absolutely my favorite brush. By the way, all products I use in this video will be linked below. After I get her hair blown out, you can see she's got a fairly blunt cut in here. So that's gonna be a little bit of a challenging line to get out, but thankfully with Knotless Box Braids, we can cover it up. I'm gonna start in the nape of her hair, and I'm gonna be doing her boxes in about 1 inch by 1 inch sections. Now, as I'm working with this hair, I'm gonna be showing you guys some different techniques that I use to help the hair look full and to make it go pretty quickly as we're working. So stay tuned through the whole video. As you can see, a 1 inch by 1 inch braid is gonna be about like this here. This is like, I'd say medium to large box braids, and before anyone asks, her head of hair took me about 4 hours. The hair I'm using is the Spectra Braid Pre-Stretch in color 4 and 27, just to give her a little bit of a pop of color to her braids as well. I got 3 bags, but only needed 2. Now this is where a thread rack like this comes in super handy. Let me show you why. So I'm gonna start off by sectioning off a bit of hair and feeling for about the size thickness that I want her braids to be in general. So I do that by taking the hair and then I spin and twist and I squeeze to kind of feel for the thickness in that. If I'm satisfied with that thickness, I'll then separate that into parts of 3 and I roll between my fingers with each of those. That way I can kind of feel and see, is that about the size I'm working with? And I put them on my thread rack. Now I only use 2 bobbin sticks, I don't know what to call them, for that. So I'll show you here. That way I've got 1, 2, and then my third strand is gonna go over the top 2. So that way for every 2, I've got a full braid. I hope that makes sense. It should be able to be visually understood here, hopefully. If not, I apologize, because babe, I don't know how else to describe that. But 1, then 2, just like you're seeing here. And after that, we're gonna go ahead and put 1 more across those 2. It just makes matters easier. For a product, I'm gonna be using Shine and Jam. You can use whatever braiding gel you like. This one I just happen to have at the house left over. I do also have some of Nairobi's, but this one here works really well. I like it because it's not too thick, but it's not too thin either. Just consistency works well for braiding. And then from there, I'm gonna comb that through this section of hair before we begin, ensuring that everything is smooth. I'm also gonna place some on the hair above the section just to ensure no flyaways are in the way, because if they do get in the way and I accidentally braid them in, that can be a little painful. We're gonna section that off into 3 and I'm gonna start braiding. 1, 2, and 3. So then from there, I'm going to go ahead and grab my first strand. We're gonna place it across the top 2 sections. I'm gonna turn my right strand in towards the center a bit and then take and tuck under. 1, come under from the left, 2, pause, and then we're going to add across those top 2 strands again. So getting my left and my right, turning the right in towards the center, tucking it under, and then going under again, 1 and 2. Then taking another strand and placing it across here. We'll do this 3 times. I know some tutorials show it up to like 6 times. That's a bit much. I don't feel like you need that much, and it makes it really noticeable where you've added in here. With this way, I feel like you start basically from jump. I'm zooming you in here so you can see a bit more of that twist that I'm talking about. So I'm just taking that hair, twisting it towards the center and tucking it under, and then 1 and 2, and that's exactly how it tucks in there. So not super complex, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. From there, I'm just gonna braid this hair down as usual. So you don't really have to do a ton in terms of this part here, nothing major, nothing special. And as I get down to the ends of her hair, I'm going to slow down a bit, and I'm going to gradually spin in towards the center again as I'm tucking that hair in. This is gonna help to hide some of that bluntness of her cut like you were seeing before. So you can see how her ends are trying to stick out. I'll go ahead and instead of just applying more product, you'll go ahead and turn that hair in slightly towards the center as you braid, like we were doing. We were adding in the hair earlier, and then tuck in. And you can see it's not super noticeable where her hair stops and the other hair continues. It makes it really neat. And you can't see a huge noticeable difference between where hair is added other than the fact that she does have the blonde color added in there. I love the method of knotless braids for this because it's super seamless. It's also a very low tension style, so you don't have to worry about a ton of tension on that hair in general. Now we're going to be doing this across the back of the nape, so I'm going to be doing 2 more sections, again 1 inch by 1 inch roughly in terms of our size sections. Notice when I'm applying product, I'm only applying that to the hair, not to the scalp. Braiding gel is not made for the scalp, and applying it to the scalp can cause a lot of irritation, especially if that client has seborrheic dermatitis, if they have psoriasis, something like that. So I'm going to apply it only to the hair, not to the scalp. From there, again, applying it to the hair above just to ensure no flyaways are coming in there, because those little loose stragglers can be very painful if you get them in there by accident. Hopefully, if you didn't see the last time really well, you'll be able to see a bit better on this one. Don't worry, I will demonstrate a few more times in this video throughout the video, so that way if one angle doesn't work for you because of lighting or whatever, another angle will. So we've gotten down to where I'm going to add in here, so we're on step 3. Then from there, I'm going to add in across the top, this time leading with our left. So we're going to go in, roll that left strand in towards the center a little bit. So rolling in, tucking under. Then from there, we'll go under on the right. Add in another strand across those top 2. So you can see our left strand does not have any hair added to it. So now we're going to be adding to our right strand and our left strand, rolling in and tucking under. Rolling in and tucking under. From there, I'm going to go ahead and add another strand of hair to this braid. We're going to go ahead and roll in and tuck under on the other side. And then from there, we just braid as usual. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of other techniques that you've seen online for it. This technique has been the easiest for me, and I will say having the braiding rack with the hair pre-section definitely saves you on time. Now, I jumped up to the next row because I don't want to waste your time. I feel like once you've seen it, you've seen it. But I do want to show you how to bricklay and why it's so important. So if you'll notice, I'm not placing those part lines perfectly on top of the previous ones. I'm parting it right around the center of the braid because I want those next row of braids to fall in between. This is going to help the hair to look fuller. And I'll turn her chair here in just a minute to kind of show you what I'm talking about when I say that. So if you'll notice here, this braid I have twisted would fall in between the other 2 and so on and so forth. So instead of her hair looking spacey like this, it's going to look more full like this here. That's the benefit of bricklaying. Here again, we're going to go ahead and section off into 3. We're going to go under 1, 2, and then 3. And from there, we're going 4 on this one. From there, we can go ahead and add across those top 2 strands. Now we're going to end up leading with the right because our right strand will be the next one to go across there. So we'll add in that hair across left and right, leaving the center out. Turning that right strand in towards the center and pass under, then pass under from the left. Adding in another strand across the top 2, left, then right. Turn the right strand in towards the center and pass under, the left in. And add 1 more strand across the top. Same situation, tucking in and rolling under. And from there, you braid down as usual, nothing major. If you need a visual representation of this, I will link a video in my description box as well, so you can clearly see with some pink hair added instead of hair that kind of matches a bit more in tone. But you can see how seamless this is. I absolutely love this technique, especially for people who are tender-headed and want to be able to put their braids up faster. Now, once I get to about this point in the head where like a man would typically bald, like that horseshoe section, from there, I am going to go ahead and start changing my parting pattern. So instead of doing a U shape, I'm going to part straight across the back of the head. And from there, we're going to go ahead and begin doing our partings. Now, this means that my 2 corner parts are going to look a little bit more triangular and the rest will be standard boxes. If that bothers you, then you may not like this parting pattern. It doesn't bother me. So it does make it easier to transition in different planes of the head. because the head does start to curve here. You want to make sure that you're working with that angular curve of the head. So I'm going to go ahead and start off this braid here, same as always, but I'm not going to slow it down because you've already seen it displayed multiple times. But I do want you to see how this hair is going to fall and why I don't feel like it's a bad thing for you to have that triangle right there, because it still falls nicely in with the rest of the braids. And in the end result, it's not going to look like, what were you doing here? It just makes sense with the shape of the head. You can also see here with those previous braids falling through how even though she doesn't have a ton of braids in her hair does not look spacey or gapped. Smoothing out the top, I love this technique, and you can notice even though she's got a blunt haircut, her hair is not sticking out anywhere on this braid. I absolutely love this technique, and it allows you to add in a good degree of thickness so you don't have to worry about that. We're going to continue across the back of the head here. Now once I get up to about the front, I'm going to start turning horizontally so that way we can have her hair lying with her part line, because she's going to want it parted more towards the center. Why? Because she's Gen Z and they love center parts. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. I know this may look like probably enough for 3 braids, but right here I'm actually going to do 2 braids. And the reason why is because honestly the hair around the hairline is not super thick, and I don't want to put a lot of stress on a little bit of hair. So we don't want to put a ton of weight on that. So I'm going to go ahead and part that out, still bricklaying, and we're going to section out to where she's got enough hair in this front braid to kind of give her some fullness and very minimal tension on there, because the goal is to keep her hair protected and to keep it safe. If your protective style is snatching out your edges, then baby, it is not protecting anything. If your protective style is causing your scalp to act up, it's not protecting anything. If you have bumps and redness and all that, your scalp is turning pink afterwards, baby, that's not protecting anything. That's doing damage. Child, I guess she forgot I was filming. Don't mind her face looking like that. I don't know what she thought was going on. I don't usually braid with this bright light, so she was 50 shades of confused. Again, around the outer edges of the hairline, make sure you're very delicate. We don't need to put a ton of grip and tension on there. I'm braiding as usual, so I have this part sped up. But I did want you to see how this hair is going to fall in between, just to ensure that it's laying nice and flat in there. Once I finish this section, I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to the end, because I feel like at this point, you get it. You know what's happening here. So when her hair is completely finished, I am going to finish it off by dipping it in a bowl of boiling hot water. Now, boiling water is about 212 degrees, which is hot enough to mold and shape this hair, but not hot enough to really melt it. So it allows us to kind of keep those braids together without them being rubber banded. Now, I have hairstylist hands, so I don't recommend you touching that hair when it's been in boiling hot water. Instead, do what I'm about to do now. Grab the towel and lightly blot. If you'll notice, I also have her lean back with her head resting on the back of the chair. If you cannot do that, they need to have a towel on their shoulders as well so they don't burn. I want to go ahead and show you an up close of what these braids are looking like from top to bottom, so you can see none of her hair is sticking out. Very natural, very full, but not super bulky, which is great for kids as well. Again, these braids took me about 4.5 hours to do. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this, please be sure to subscribe for more tutorials like this one. Have a great day. Stay glam. Okay, love you. Bye.